really excited to announce the Day for Good 2025 Delta Analytics pairing with ENGin. This is our second year working with ENGin, and today what we want to do is just go over some of the great work that we've done together. So what we're going to cover today are really just the introduction. So I'm going to hand this over to our executive director, Sean, and he'll talk about what Delta Analytics is. We'll hear from Lily and about the team who worked on this project. And then we're going to hear about Rita about what ENGin is. Then we're going to cover our scope of work, the dashboard, and really do a little demo on that. We'll talk about the technical backside, and then talk about the impact. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Sean.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much, Jay. So I am the executive director with Delta Analytics, and Delta's mission is to harness data for social good. So Delta Analytics is a volunteer nonprofit organization, and our main focus, we aim to address the data skill gap that many nonprofits face, helping these organizations make data-driven decisions and implement strategies for maximum social impact. Since 2013, Delta Analytics has completed over 90 projects with nonprofits and social impact organizations. We also have a machine learning for good teaching class where we've curated an open source curriculum and taught this course throughout the world. Over the course of the many projects we've done, we've recruited over 300 data science professionals who have volunteered thousands of hours consulting and developing data for good resources. And we've donated over 28,000 hours from our volunteers. And through the course of this, we've charged zero for our services. So this is the service that Delta Analytics provides. And as a great demonstration of that, Lily's going to introduce the team that worked on this project.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so this is a Data Fellows team that worked on ENGin project this year. So I was part of this project as a returning fellow. So I was actually on another project that was part of Delta's Data Fellowship last year, and I came back to continue working with Delta. I currently work in security audit at Shopify, and I have a degree in analytics from Georgia Tech. We also had Sonia, who is also a data analytics master student at San Jose State University, and she had a lot of experience in data engineering. We have Alpa, who is a data analyst, and she's actually also a prior volunteer for ENGin as one of their part of their program. And so she came in to volunteer as part of Delta on the data side. And we have Shuyan, who is a data scientist at Google and a computer science degree holder from Brown. So we've definitely had a big range of skills here, and we were all looking forward to helping ENGin with the data needs.
And over to you, Rita, to introduce ENGin and yourself.
Yeah, so hello. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you great.
So yeah, today I'll represent ENGin, a nonprofit organization which has been working since 2020. And our goal is actually to help Ukrainians develop their fluency and intercultural competence skills by one-on-one connections and by connecting with people from all over the world. I represent this organization like a program officer, and I've been with it for a couple of years, so I'm absolutely excited about what we do and what impact we have been creating. So now I'll tell you a little bit more about the specifics of the operation of our program. So like I mentioned before, we are aiming at changing the world one conversation at a time. So the uniqueness of the program lies in the fact that, unlike different AI technologies or modern other technological activities, we provide these meaningful personal connections, which is extremely beneficial for the developing of both English fluency skill and soft interpersonal skills of our participants. So overall, the program works by pairing our volunteers from all over the world with English learners in Ukraine for weekly just video chat conversation. So this requires really minimum commitment from participants on both ends, but at the same time, it brings win-win benefits to both sides, just as measured by our impact report, just within minimum of 3 months of activities. Although the duration is unlimited for volunteers, for students, this is limited by 1 year participation, but still, even within 3 months, they show considerable improvements across different aspects. Like I mentioned before, we just pair our participants on individual basis. However, we also recently started offering a mini group format where several students of moderately the same level can be paired with one volunteer, and they will have more opportunities to practice their English, more exposure to different accents, and opportunities to engage with people from different backgrounds and with different experiences. The program lies in weekly practice via video chat. This is like an obligatory requirement. Of course, there are some specific cases when it can be impossible, like 1 week exception, but overall, yeah. So this is like video chat conversations, focus on conversational speaking. It means that, we do not offer like grammar or like vocabulary standard school. So the main idea is to give people opportunity to speak and practice conversational language, and it's pretty flexible, offering for both students and volunteers because they can provide their availability, meet in the times when they are available, and use it for their benefit. For volunteers, it means really flexible opportunity since it doesn't require to have any teaching experience. So these are ordinary people who are just willing to make a difference and willing to contribute just at least 1 hour per week. We provide them some special little training for them, how to guide conversations, how to provide error correction where necessary, and how to overall structure their conversations. For students, it has multiple benefits like improving their speaking skills. It also poses great emotional support during the wartime, as quite often students report the fact that they really feel that it's important for them to spread the word, across the world about what's happening in Ukraine, especially in the times of harsh attacks. And quite often volunteers become really good friends, and they forge strong bonds with students. So it's like that, and they also have opportunity of cultural exchange. So throughout the whole period, we have managed to serve 55,000 participants with 29,000 students, 26,000 volunteers, and 35 members of staff. As you can see here, some of our impact activities are measured by our impact report, and 99% of students see improvements in their English already after 3 months of participation. Students build their confidence when speaking English, and as reported, it improves by 36%. Students' ability to understand idioms and slang improves by 39%, and their ability to speak in long stretches improves by 29% on average. So these are just small numbers, but they show the effectiveness. Also, some interesting facts which I decided to include that 79% of participants become friends. 42% of students who joined for professional growth got a promotion or a new job as a result of participation. 95% of volunteers are very satisfied or just satisfied, like 23% with their experience. And 65% of volunteers have supported Ukraine in other ways as a result of participating in the program. Oh yeah, so it was like a short introduction of what we're doing and what impact we are bringing. So if you have any questions, welcome. If not, like, I'm ready to give the floor to Lily.
Yeah, let's keep the questions for the end. We'll have a Q&A just in case there's any that come up in the live stream chat. But Lily, I'll pass it to you for the scope of work.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you, Rita. I think that's like a great overview because it shows, I guess, how important what you guys are doing is for a lot of Ukrainians and for the volunteers who also participate in the program. And so we came in, I believe, last year was actually the first time that Delta Analytics worked with ENGin to create a dashboard to help kind of work with the data that you are collecting on the different aspects of the program, both on like the application process for connecting the Ukrainian participants and volunteers, but also about their time in the program, the progress they're making, their satisfaction. All those details are getting collected, and the best use of that data would be if you can actually get those insights and understand how the program is doing and be able to report on it. So the goal for this year was to improve on that dashboard. And when we talked with the NGO, we tried to come up with, I guess, the most high priorities in terms of what would be helpful for this year's project. And I think the goal was primarily to improve on the existing charts and KPIs and metrics that dashboard has, but to make it more clear and easy to understand and interpret for volunteers at ENGin, but improves the accuracy to make sure that the data that is pulled is correct, it's up to date, it gets refreshed, and that it's clear, also easy to understand exactly what is being calculated, and it actually represents the type of metrics that ENGin is looking for. And relevancy in terms of how they use the data, like what's most useful, what type of metrics and charts would actually help them understand the program and help them with their internal and external reporting and analysis that sometimes they do manually still. So these were our goals at a high level. And then to dig a little deeper into the scope, there were 4 different types of metrics, kind of categories of the data that is in the dashboard that we were trying to work on to improve. And the first one is about onboarding process for the students and volunteers, and kind of the time that it takes to onboard through different stages, from like application to interview to kind of matching process where students get matched with volunteers. All of those steps get captured, but we're looking to improve the clarity and accuracy of some of the metrics and charts that captures that information for ENGin. We were also working on the rejections. So some of the students or volunteers get rejected during the application process or for various reasons, and also during the interview process. And those reasons are captured, but not all of them were being displayed in the dashboard or being reflected. So we were trying to make sure that we are capturing all the information and that ENGin can use that to understand exactly kind of how the rejections are happening or what's the most common reason. Duration in the program is more about the stretch of the participation when students and volunteers have already been matched and they go through their weekly sessions, but we want to understand, I guess, how long they stay in the program, and depending on the times they joined or maybe other factors, like we can filter the information to see in particular months maybe how many people dropped out. And we want to be able to see that dropout rate over time as well. So that's another one that we were working on to improve kind of accuracy and clarity of the charts that help ENGin track that information. And finally, the program report is kind of a compilation of a lot of metrics about different statuses of the participants in the program, both the students and the volunteers, so that you can filter on a particular time frame, months or year, and by the category of the volunteer and their status of where they are in the program. Are they in onboarding? Are they in interview stage? Are they active? Or are they pending some payment or matching or other stage, and understand kind of where they are, how many of those participants fall into each of the categories. So it's a more cumulative view. And we also wanted to make sure that that pulls the accurate information and is reflected in a way that ENGin is using that for internal analysis and reporting to minimize the manual data processing that they have to do. And yeah, I guess at this point we can go into the demo or a description of how the dashboard is being used by ENGin.
Yeah, Rita, I'll go over to your demonstration slides. And I believe that just for, while this is a Power BI report that can be refreshed and interacted with, we had created just screenshots of the dashboard so that we could control it a little bit better and what's exposed to the public. But Rita, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, hello. This is not the whole chart which I put in this demo, so I decided to take the most, like, say, meaningful parts of it. But the dashboard itself has more tabs. So here, actually, so we wanted to know how much time it takes each participant to go through the onboarding process, and in specifics to see how much time it takes like for them to move from one step to the other step. And here we can in easy way filter, choose from which status we want to check it till which status by choosing this on the right, like start status and end status. And overall, we automatically get the chart of how long it takes and the average elapsed day by years and months. And we can see, for example, if any activities that we make to improve the onboarding processes effectively impact the way we run the program and improve our onboarding data. So this is really useful for us to know whether we have volatile numbers and so on. It's also really useful that we can filter it by user, so we can just filter by student or by a volunteer, because for them it may be different information. And of course we can check it by the age ranges, because it takes, for example, younger students to go through the onboarding longer than adult, and it takes volunteers faster to complete onboarding than students. So for us, it represents the information which can be really used in a meaningful way in order to make, let's say, reasonable and justified decisions about any changes we need to make when welcoming new participants. So I'm ready to jump to the next tab. Like what Lily mentioned, we have a comprehensive onboarding process where our participants visit interviews, and we interview them. Based on that, we make a decision whether we can accept them in the program or not. And also within the program, we have automated rejections. So when during completing the application form, participants can answer that they are not, that they don't agree with any of our policies, which are crucial for us to participate. And this way they get automated rejection from participating in the program. And we do need to collect this data from both types of rejections in order to see where most people come from, what are the reasons for their rejections, and again, what reasonable steps we need to make in order to improve these processes or consider them. Of course, the first step of profile rejected also shows us, like in a graph way, the information about like how many people get rejected, and if we see considerable surges in this, it's something suspicious we need to pay attention to. Again, we can filter here by users, by age, and by the date they joined. And here we also have opportunity to choose whether these are active students currently, or like participants overall, or they're already inactive. So we can see this information for those who already left, but we just look at it retrospectively. And with the help of the bar charts, we can see this common rejection reasons for them to join. Currently, we can see information for students, but yeah, you can choose overall for all parties or just by filtering by user role. So this is the other type of rejection which I mentioned. So previously, if we looked at the rejections which are automated during the completing of the application form, so these rejections come from our interview part when participants meet for 15-minute Zoom interview with team members who interview them, screen them, and based on that they can also get rejected, and we can also see the common reasons for that. Basically, in the filtering options, we have the same functionality as for the previous chart, which we find really useful to navigate and to get this data really quickly. So I'm ready to move to the next one. Also, coming back to our onboarding stats, like I mentioned, it's really crucial for us to see how much time it takes people to go through the onboarding. And this chart also cumulatively, but in line graphs, shows us onboarding times, average days it takes participants to complete that. We can see the number of signups within the defined specified timestamp that we choose, average days to complete the profile, average days to complete an interview, complete training, and to complete assessments. It's shown in the nicely represented way in bar charts and line charts, and we can tweak them as needed to also get to know that, for example, if it takes participants too much time to complete the application form, we might consider removing some of the questions which we actually decided to do, like just tweaking it a little bit, or just reconsidering any other steps which can pose some blocks and which can hamper completion of the onboarding for them. Also this is something connected with the previous chart. I just zoomed it in a little bit. We can also see information on how much time it takes to complete an application form for people. We can also filter by users, by age. We can check that by years, because, for example, we can just logically make some conclusions that a couple of years ago it took them longer because the application form was longer, maybe it was more confusing, or just wording was different. But after we make some improvements, we can see that this, for example, changes, and we also like that if it changes, and it helps us to improve some information. So actually, all this information is represented in bar charts here. It's just a more detailed explanation of that previous part of the chart which I showed to you. It's about like onboarding days. So I think I'm not going to focus on that in more details, unless you want to ask something in the comment on that. It's just the associated chart, but with more detailed explanations of the onboarding data. So after we finalize the onboarding, we also really want our participants to be engaged, and we want to retain them. That's why we need to actively track the information regarding how long they stay, and what are the main reasons for them to leave the program. And here, in different formats, in nice ways, as we find it really useful, we can see how long people stay in the program. We can see from this chart that nicely this is like 1 year is the longest chart, and up to 2 weeks or 2 weeks, 1 month is just shorter ones. And we based on that, we explore the reasons for people to drop out, for example, at early stages, and also make justified decisions about how to improve this data. So it's shown in the bar chart, in the pie chart for better getting all the information. So the differences between that, we decided that we would look at those who are like still active ones. So we just this will be like live data, and for those who already dropped out, so we would really see the whole their life of the program, and just track it based on that. And we here have information about average months on when they are active in the program throughout different years. So I think that's main. So also, like in most of the tabs, we can filter that by users, by years, and by age ranges as needed. Yeah, apart from that, we have quite a lot of information with this. We call this tab demographics. It's associated with different types of information, like age ranges, gender distribution, gender preferences, because during the application form, participants have the chance to indicate what gender preferences for their matches they have. We have a bar chart which represents estimated English level distribution of participants, an English test score, which is like a placement test which students take when joining, and the preferred level that volunteers indicate. So we can see that, for example, most of volunteers want to work with higher level students than with lower level students. So this is kind of an information which helps us get better grasp of what the program is about, what are the common preferences, and what are the common patterns we see in participants who join. Apart from that, we also track the duration on how long the participants are active. So in the first chart, we can see this information represented in the way where we track their onboarding time and their being time of matched. And we can basically see this information represented in the bar chart, but we can see it by months, like by month distribution on how long they are active. Also, this is like a way of representing this data, and the same filters like we mentioned before. It's about like age, user role, date when they joined, and whether they're still active, just looking at those who are still on the program, or looking just at those who already dropped out to see their full life cycle at the program. I think these were the main tabs which I included for the demo, but it's not an exhaustive list. Yeah, I don't know whether Lily, you want to add anything or no, so just let me know.
Thank you, Rita. Yeah, we can go over into the next slides now, and I can talk a little bit about what we were able to accomplish this year in terms of like the improvements that you demoed in some of the charts. So I think to give like an overview, I guess, how this all was put together, and obviously a lot of it was done when the dashboard was originally created by Delta. But the general flow of the information here, it comes from the SQL database that ENGin stores and collects all the data from their programming, and then it gets imported into Power BI, where we use a lot of different transformations, both through DAX and Power Query, to kind of help get the data into the right format or into the right, get the right calculations done for the metrics that we are looking to present. And then we, of course, have to work on charts and how to present those metrics and data in the most useful way for Rita and ENGin team to use. There's a lot of different fields and tables getting captured in the database, but some of the main ones that we've been working with are about the users and participants data, so kind of capturing that information about participant, when they joined, when did they move to a different stage in their onboarding, kind of some of that demographic data on what age they are, but also what status they're in terms of the program, and whether they're a student or a volunteer, and other details about their roles. There's assessment and interview table, which handles more their responses to different questions, whether it's application, an interview, or their satisfaction surveys and kind of progress in the program. And then there's other additional tables on sessions and meetings, for example, their weekly trainings and participation logs on how often they continue to have those conversations between student and volunteer. So with this setup, what we were primarily focused on this year, and with help of Rita and ENGin, we identified these priorities of what they want to see improved in the dashboard. And they all kind of tie back to the charts that Rita showed us earlier. Some of them are about onboarding or rejection rates or duration in the program. For the onboarding stage, we focused on improving kind of the different ways that the data can be presented. In the past, some of the data was presented more cumulatively, for example, from the moment that a user joined and started their application to the times they got matched. That would be the cumulative time of their onboarding. But instead, we wanted to break it down by each step, how long it took them to do each step of the process in the onboarding, the application, the interview, the matching, and all the other stages there, assessment. And we also wanted to add additional filters. So like the age was previously only binary, like whether they were under 18 or over 18. And we've made it more flexible where we can create custom ranges. And we also wanted the filters be by specific months, not necessarily just the date that a user joined, but if we just wanted to look at the information, for example, for last month's, because we want to understand kind of what's happening in the program right now, that would help us filter the data in a new view that would give us new information. For the rejection rates, I think I was mentioning it earlier, but there's multiple different reasons. And so we were expanding kind of those charts to make sure that it captures all the different reasons someone could be rejected during either application or interview process. And then moving on to the duration in the program, we were looking to kind of show that dropout rate across time. And like Rita was showing, it is able to be filtered for both active and inactive participants. So what that means when we include active participants, it means that they haven't actually dropped out yet, but we are going to count them in a bucket, for example, up to 1 month if they have only been in the program so far for 2 or 3 weeks. There is a chance that it could drop out before months, but once they've stayed longer, we will count them in the next bucket. And that allows us to see kind of if participants continue to stay longer in the program currently, even while they're active. And last program metric by status and role, the one that kind of shows all the different participants. It's more of a table view, but it captures a lot of information. And we were doing the work to make sure that the data getting pulled into that view has the most accurate and up-to-date information. That, again, it has additional filters to allow ENGin to use it for their analysis and reporting in the ways that they're sometimes doing manually right now. And that includes, again, all the participants and different stages during the program. So I don't know, Rita, if you wanted to add anything onto this, or if this kind of captures what we've worked on.
I think it captures, so I have nothing to add as of now.
Thank you.
And I think we have one more slide for you, Rita, just to talk about the impact of the dashboard. So I'll pass this on to you, but we're wrapping this up soon.
Yeah, and I remember I wanted to add that we really worked on making sure it gets updated, because we had some blockers and issues with that. So it's kind of a refinement that we work on. So now it gets refreshed easily. So thank you for that. Yeah, if just to summarize, I think I just mentioned the ways we have been using that. But yeah, here's like a small summary of what we are going to apply it for. I think one of the challenges I want to mention now is that we really need to establish a clear process of how we can use it on a more regular basis and even more in our everyday operations, because we just want to make sure that this data doesn't get lost and we use it wisely. So, and if we just summarize the impact, so it of course gives us faster access to real-time data, so we don't need to deal with some of the experts, download them, use Excel sheets in order to use formulas, so we can get some information pretty fast just by one click. We can early detect any issues, like I mentioned. We can see if any trends change considerably and change in patterns which affect the program. We can make justified decisions of what we need to do, or just analyze what actions led to that. As a result, we can make more informed and data-driven decisions supported by charts and information, not just, say, double guessing. We have better tracking of progress over time because we can analyze data month to month, year to year, using our filters, and this way we can measure effectiveness of the improvements we are making and improvements we are committed to. And of course, it supports our long-term strategic planning because we also can track what, for example, statistics and metrics are low, what we need to work on, what we need to adjust, improve, and what other resources we need to allocate to certain program part. So that's, I think, in a nutshell about the impact it has for us as of now.
This is just wonderful. Thank you so much, Rita and Lily, for the presentation, but also your work throughout the year. Rita, it's so excellent to see a repeat NGO partner and that we're able to make improvements on the project continuously. And Lily, thanks for leading the project and inheriting this technical, like a lot of technical work and really jumping into the weeds. It's really difficult, I know, to inherit something that's already been established, especially when this is volunteer and to be working on that part-time. Just one question to each of you. Rita, you talked about shortening the onboarding questionnaire already. Were there any other specific changes you've made after seeing the data on the dashboard?
Not yet. I think we just, like Ali mentioned, we want to set up a process of regularly reviewing that and have regular meetings where we get down to this data and we make sure we can analyze it and use it wisely. So that's something more to come and something that we want to establish. Yeah, and since you mentioned all teams engaged, I also would like to thank all of you for helping, for making it work, and for your great engagement and help. It was, and it is still super pleasant and effective to collaborate with you, both in terms of communication, cooperation, getting advices and recommendations on how to demonstrate the data in a better way. So it has been really meaningful, useful, and effective. So I'm really grateful to all of you.
Thank you, Rita. Yeah, I just want to say thanks as well, both for working with Delta continuously and with us this year specifically, and also for all the work you do as part of ENGin, since the impact you mentioned earlier, it's really real, and I'm sure it's felt by all the volunteers and students that participate in the program. So it's really kind of I feel really great about being able to contribute even a little bit to that mission that you guys are leading. So thank you for trusting us with your data and helping the students in Ukraine and kind of just the work you're doing for that. And also thank you, Jay, because I know that you have been involved with the ENGin team from the beginning. So you have helped us both start on this project and kind of understand what the work has already been done and get started on making further improvements. And thank you for all your support during the process.
Thank you both for being just such excellent partners. Like I said earlier, I was really excited, but also kind of proud with how this project progressed and how much effort and progress we were able to make. Lily, just one more question. I don't see anything else in chat, but I wanted to ask you, what was the biggest thing that you learned while working on this project?
Definitely is that, data can be messy, but that when you tie it back, I guess, to how it's actually being used or the real, I guess, process or the real things that are happening behind it, that's what's really helpful. So then when we talk to Rita to understand how they're using this data or what they're just generally looking for in their program and improving and challenges that they're dealing with, I think that really helps understand okay, this is what this data is for, and kind of try to bring that back then into a solution in Power BI. Obviously, not everything always can be done perfectly as you want it to, but I think, kind of keeping that underlying goal in mind, the fact that, it's messy data for a reason, because it's messy reality of like some of the changes that happen during any program, but especially when it's something that involves people, and like people that are going through a lot of different things, so like both students and volunteers. And so the kind of working with that and making sure that we can reflect that in the final solution, I think that was my biggest takeaway.
That's an awesome lesson, and also one I feel that just resonates with every data project.
Yeah.
Great. Sean, were there any other questions from chat, or did you have any questions? Otherwise, I think we can wrap this up.
No, I don't see any in chat, but yeah, thank you all so much for this great work that you've done. And Rita, yeah, it's been a pleasure working with ENGin for multiple years now, and hopefully we can continue this in the future if there are projects to work on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I hope
thanks
to.
everyone. Yeah.